and happy Soul Food Saturday. I am Coach Tam, Chief Visionary Officer of 265 Point Total Fitness. And today is the big day. It's the day that I unveil the fifth and final step of the Getting Unstuck series. Now, as a reminder, if this is your first time checking out one of these videos, what we've been talking about is that place, that land of stuck that we all find ourselves in at some point in our journey to a better body, a better relationship with God, a better financial outlook, financial freedom, a better career, or starting a business. All of us at some point in our journey find ourselves stuck. So the question is, what do I do when I get there? And this series answers that question for you. So up until this point, we've covered 4 steps. We've talked about the first step being, I have to make a different decision. I have to decide that I don't like where I am and I'm getting out of here. I'm going to do something different. Then we talked about committing to a plan. I need to have a game plan for how I'm going to get from where I am to where I want to be. And in my belief, that plan should be threefold, because I believe that we are 3 parts. We are spirit, mind, and body. And so your action plan needs to bring all of those things together, because when you do, then you're on the road to health and wholeness. Thirdly, we talked about the importance of creating accountability, giving someone permission to ask us how it's going, and celebrate when things are going well, and when they're not going well, challenge us to get back on track. Their job is to remind us of what we said we were going to do and why it's important. And then on yesterday, we talked about the importance of execution, right? It's no good to have the plan and have someone have the permission to ask us about how things were going if we're not going to actually get going. So we talked about 3 fears that could get in the way of getting started: the fear of looking stupid, the fear of failure, and the fear of success. So if you didn't have a chance to catch up on that, please, after you watch this video, I want you to go back, check out the previous 4, because it will really help things come together. So today, the 5th and final step to getting unstuck. And just like the 3rd step, creating accountability, this is one that is often missed, all right? So I want to make sure that you recognize the importance of this step in any goal that you are aiming to reach. And the 5th and final step, family, is to celebrate success. All right, celebrate success. Now, first, I have to define what I mean by success, because I think where we can often fall into a trap is feeling as though we only celebrate when we reach our ultimate goal, right? So let's say, as I have shared with you in the action plan, that you have decided, hey, these are the things that I'm going to do for the next 30 days, or the things that I'm not going to do for the next 30 days. And as great as it is for you to have identified these things and to have made progress, if you don't stop to celebrate your wins, here's what's going to happen. You're going to eventually stop executing. How do I know this? Because I have seen it play out in my life and in the lives of the clients that I coach. And again, this is any goal, whether we're talking about losing weight, writing a book, starting a business. If you don't learn to celebrate your wins along the journey, not just when you get to your destination, you will eventually stop going. Now, your question may be, why is this the case? And then what does celebrating look like? So I'm going to address those 2 things, and good morning. So the first thing is, listen, if you don't celebrate success, what happens is you get caught up in your feelings, right? So when we talked about yesterday, when I don't take action, that there is a root thought, there is a root fear that is preventing me from taking action. And I have to learn how to flip that in order to get results. Well, here's the reality about us as human beings. We always have feelings. Feelings come up all the time. So there are going to be points in your journey where you feel like it is not working. You're going to feel like you're putting in the work, you're putting in the time, you're putting in the energy, you're doing the best that you can, and you're going to feel like it's not working. In the wellness space and the weight loss space, this can be stepping on the scale, and I don't see the result that I expected to see, right? I don't see that the scale has moved as much as I thought it would move. From a author standpoint, maybe you were expecting to get a certain speaking engagement in order to be able to promote your book, or to be invited on a certain podcast and you applied for it, but you weren't selected. So you can get in your feelings in that moment and feel like, you know what, this isn't working. Or maybe you're looking to move up that corporate ladder and you've identified what you believe is your dream job. You review the qualifications and you feel like, you know what, this is my job. I'm going to get this. You submit your application, but you get a rejection letter. You don't even get the interview. So you're pursuing your goal. You're working towards it. You've applied for the job. You've been doing the things that you need to do to see the scale move. You have been putting yourself out there as an offer to get more attention, but your feelings will not always support it because sometimes along the way, it feels like things aren't working. So what I want you to train yourself to do instead is to be able to celebrate the performance that you're doing. And what I mean by that is the things that you are doing in order to reach your goal, not the actual achievement of the goal when the book is published and it's a bestseller, or when the business is started and booming, right? It's not just the achievement of the goal that matters. People that are successful are able to celebrate success along the way. Now, this is a lesson that I learned from one of my coaches, actually one of the first coaches that I worked with. I was in an executive coaching program with Jack Canfield, author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. So you may recognize the name. And listen, one of the things that I learned through that process of working with one of his coaches is I didn't do a good job of celebrating. I was good at checking things off the list and accomplishing goals. But then there would be times where, especially, for example, I had finally wrapped up my MBA program, spent 26 months pursuing this degree, and I hadn't hung up the diploma that said that I had completed the program. What a big missed opportunity. And I find that especially among my tribe, the high achiever tribe, we do not celebrate success. We only consider it a win when we have totally and completely crushed the goal. But what we have to remember is that transformation is a process. And it's all about the things that we do, the little steps that we take every day that eventually get us to the goal if we don't quit. So when we learn how to celebrate the performance, the things that we're doing, not just the final outcome, it confirms and it helps us to manage our thoughts and manage our feelings and recognize that although we haven't reached the ultimate destination that we want to reach, that we are making progress. So let me give you an example of what this looks like. One of the things that I encourage my clients to do is at the end of each day to review their performance. So they've set goals in specific areas. So for example, for one client, that goal is to work out 4 times a week, to have 80 to 90% adherence to their nutrition plan, and to get 5 hours of sleep. So each day, I want you to look at how you're doing with those goals. And for the things that you have done successfully, I want you to celebrate that. I want you to give yourself credit for that so that you can see that you are in fact taking the steps that you need to get there. So if you were to do this, remember we have a 30-day action plan. If you were to do this for 30 days, here's what's going to happen. You're going to be able to look at your habit tracker. This is something that I encourage you to use. Just a simple sheet of paper with 1 through 30. List your goals on the left-hand side and then check off every time you accomplish one of your performance goals. Not, for example, losing 10 pounds, but one of the performance goals. Check it off every time. Imagine getting at the end of 30 days and being able to see that you consistently worked out 4 days a week. What does that do to your confidence? It lets you know that you are able to change because you have the evidence in black and white that you have been able to consistently do this every week for 30 days. And imagine if your goal, maybe you want to be you're an aspiring author, so maybe you haven't gotten your book out there yet. Maybe your goal is to finish up your book within the next 90 days. Imagine if you were able to see at the end of 30 days that you honored the commitment that you made to yourself to write for 20 minutes a day, right? So instead of getting to the end of the month and feeling like, oh my gosh, I still have so far to go, I haven't made any progress, you're able to see, you know what, I did honor my commitment to write 20 minutes a day. I may not be there, but I'm on my way. And even if you didn't perfectly execute your plan, you are able to see that more often than not, you were able to execute it. And then if for some reason it was way off, then you have real perspective. So instead of telling myself, I can't do this, this is not working, what it allows you to do is to reset and say, okay, here are the areas that I see that I'm not executing on as I expected. So all I have to do, instead of thinking that I'm a bad person and that I can't do this, all I have to do is actually be consistent with executing these things. And then I'm going to get the result that I want. So it creates hope, because then you know, hey, listen, all I've got to do is make this little tweak and I'm going to be there. All right. So here's what I want you to do. Let me wrap this up. Here is your homework assignment. Your homework assignment is to create that simple habit tracker. Again, just at the top of it, you're going to write 1 through 30, a spot for 1 through 30, the days of the month, or 31 days of the month. On the left, you're going to list the goals that you established for yourself in that initial step when we talked about committing to a plan. And then as you accomplish those goals, you are going to put a check in the box. And then at the end of each day, you're going to look at it. You're going to be proud. You're going to celebrate. You're going to give yourself a pat on the back for accomplishing those goals. Every week, you're going to review it and say, gosh, look at the progress I've made. And if there are areas of opportunity, you're going to just simply make adjustments. And then at the end of 30 days, imagine the satisfaction you feel when you see that you have, in fact, been putting in the work, and you've got to celebrate that success. So I hope that you have found this series helpful. If you have, give me a like and comment. What has been the most impactful? What has been the most jarring piece of information that I've shared as I've gone through this process that you believe that will help you move forward? And then now that you have all the pieces, let's get going. Let's get it done. And if you need any help along this journey, because realize that your time is important, right? Figuring out all of this on your own can sometimes be challenging. So if you're feeling stuck with how to apply the steps that I've talked about, or you just want someone to encourage you along the way and make sure that you stay on track, reach out to me and let's figure it out together. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday, and I'll talk to you soon. God bless.